Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Something to Drink On. Today, our drink of choice is going to be a caramel vanilla latte. You can get it wherever they can be purchased. Ours is Starbucks today because we don't have a Dunkin', as my guest would have preferred.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in good old Anderson, Indiana. But my guest today is Casey. He is a writer, actor, nerd, wrestling fan. Any other descriptors you want to provide yourself? Transgender?
No.
Gender neutral?
A drunk 7 on a good day.
A drunk 7.
On a
Ooh.
good, yeah.
Ooh, like somebody's drunk and they see you as a 7?
Oh yeah.
Or you're 7 when you're drunk?
No. I'm the other way.
I don't know, man. You take those glasses off, you might bump yourself up to an 8. Ooh.
A drunk 8.
A drunk? No. Solid.
Just a solid 8. All right.
I don't know, man. The beard and the long hair work for you. I'll be honest.
Dude, no. It's funny you mentioned that.
Like haha funny or just like, oh, that's funny?
No, it's So I went to Steak and Shake after work with a buddy of mine, and for those that don't know this, apparently Steak and Shake in Indianapolis is like the place for all the drug dealers to go. Apparently, I don't know why.
Because cheap food.
Cheap food, I guess. Sure. Yeah, sure.
I mean,
and this guy came up to us and was like, "Hey, you guys got any dope?" And I was like, "No, we're good."
They for real said that?
Yeah, they like came up to us and like under their breath were like, "Hey, you guys got like any dope or something like that?" And I was like, "Nah, man, I don't smoke." And then like my friend looked at me and he was like, I go to like a lot of like Fish concerts, a lot, and like I always get asked that, but I don't even take drugs. I just looked at him, I was like, dude, I have long hair, a beard, a beanie hat, tattoos on my arms, and I'm wearing a band t-shirt. Yeah. If there's anyone here that looks like they can cook up some pretty damn good meth, it's me.
Nah, because your face looks normal.
Yeah.
You have like a healthy complexion, so probably not meth.
Wow.
So, we tried this once.
Yeah.
This is the funny story. So we tried recording, and we went for 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Like, I have not had a recording session with anybody else who has went that long. And at some point, before I could actually get the copy of it from you, because you were putting it on a USB,
yeah.
He accidentally deleted about an hour of it, which to be honest, I was probably going to edit about that much out anyway. But whatever section it was, he was just like...
It was like right in the middle. Like I was going through and I was editing all like the sound bites for you to make sure all the levels were... I was just normalizing audio and I was saving as I was going along, and then about somewhere in the middle I like accidentally deleted because like I was hitting hotkeys.
Yeah.
And instead of hitting the hotkey to save, I hit the hotkey to delete, and I was so pushy with the buttons I hit enter right away that I totally ignored the message that came up. I thought it said, "Do you want to save everything?" But no, it said, "Do you want to delete everything?" And I said, "Yes." So then there was like an hour and a half or so, like just chunk missing. I was like, "Oh no."
No, there's that one cut that you had, yeah.
Yeah.
So, which I mean, I'm okay with that. I'm okay re-recording. Because we went way too long.
Oh, yeah.
Which wasn't bad. It was actually great. It was our first time. I think that was actually our first time hanging out one-on-one.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
I can really think about it.
It was a good time.
Yeah, it was
so it was like
time.
we actually developed a friendship from that, so that was good.
Yeah.
Which is why I brought him donuts this morning with coffee. And by the way, you need to try the pumpkin spice.
I need to take a bite out of
no, because they're very fresh. So I literally just got these.
Okay.
And you're gonna
Where'd you get them?
Deluxe donuts.
Deluxe donuts.
So just take a bite. And then, yeah, you feel that, don't you? That soft, moist, fresh donut feel. Oh, you don't like the word moist? Not your thing? Okay.
Not with my donuts, no.
Dude, I don't know. Like, for me, it's like, so that's a cake donut. So for me, I actually made donuts at one point. So I worked at a donut shop. That is a good cake donut.
Yeah.
But for me, I worked at a donut shop for...
That was life-changing.
No, it was delicious, right?
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, because it's very fresh off of the rack, literally. Like it slowly condensed sitting next to another donut. Like the pressure was condensing the donut. It was so fresh, which is awesome because that means it's going to be like really nice and really tender to bite into and just really delicious.
I love it.
Anyway, aside from donuts, a few things we did talk about. and a few things we ranted about this weekend after a certain wrestling pay-per-view we'll get
Oh
to
my God.
here in a bit.
Yeah.
I know we will. First thing I have to ask.
Yes.
You remember this? Favorite color?
And I remember oh gosh.
You had an answer.
Yeah, I had an answer, and like, I don't know, man. Like blue and green are like my like two, but like they together they make teal. So I guess like teal.
Oh, that's right,
You know?
because you like teal.
Yeah.
So why teal?
It's peaceful to me.
Okay.
It's very calming, and it's like water. And I like being around the water.
Huh?
And so whenever I see teal, it's just very.
So you'd be a waterbender, is what you're saying.
I'd be.
Absolutely.
I would be, if I could be any superhero, I'd probably be Aquaman.
Aquaman, really?
Oh yeah.
Oh right, we had this conversation. You like Aquaman? Well, no, you
Aquaman.
you like a specific writer for Aquaman.
I love both.
Fair enough. So again, a lot of context from 3 hours of a conversation. God, I still can't believe we did that. I was kicking myself.
That wasn't even 3. That was 3. That was over 3.5
hours.
Yeah,
Oh
almost 4 hours. Wow.
I'm kind of sorry because I would have never done that to any other person I recorded with. I felt so bad. I was like, God, that took up so much time. And then I didn't even have my computer, and it was a mess. So I'm kind of glad we're re-recording, getting back on that again. But the thing I wanted to bring you on is because you're a writer.
Yes.
And you have a few movies that you've worked on.
Mm-hmm.
You told me last time when we hung out that you are actually working on a book, as well as how many other things currently? How many projects do you have going on right now?
Well, I finished a TV pilot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm currently writing 2 feature-length films.
Oh wow.
Alongside with my book, so it's busy, but I enjoy it. It's because it's like that. It's like that good kind of stress.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so yeah, it is very stressful, but it is a good kind of stress that I really really enjoy. So.
It's that stress that motivates you to do the thing that you love to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's that kind of stress, and it's like a life-giving stress because you know once you address it, you'll feel better.
Yeah, you know, and I mean that's really what a lot of it I think really came from.
Mm-hmm.
Because last year, or not even at that point now, it's more like a year and a half, I would say, maybe even 2 years. I was like not in a good place in my life,
Mm-hmm.
and I was really focused on who I wanted to be with instead of like who I wanted to be, because I felt like whoever I wanted to be with, that would have like been, I don't know, that would have been fulfilling to me.
That the group makes the man, not the man makes the group.
That the group makes the man, or that the woman makes the, whatever.
Whatever it turns into.
Right, yeah, and so...
Which, for you, was that... Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah.
But, like, for you, was that, like, the relationship you were in at the time, or was that, like, the friend group, or was it kind of a mix of both?
That was a little bit of both, in all honesty. It was a little bit of the relationship. I really used that relationship to define who I was, which is... not what you do unless you're married.
Yeah,
that was something I learned,
and especially
real quick
it's,
after the relationship. I mean that relationship went on for, oh gosh, like just a little bit over a year, I think, and when it ended, it was really bad.
I heard it was messy.
It was really messy. It was messy in the relationship. And it got messy out of the relationship, and I mean, like, I'll be the first to admit it was like in the relationship. I would say it was more messy on her side, and then after the relationship, it was really messy on my side. Like I was an asshole after the relationship, because I think I just used a lot of anger, built up anger that like I did not like really put out there.
Yeah.
During the relationship, because
like you didn't handle it well.
I didn't really handle each situation well
in
the relationship, and so like because all that built up, now it had to like come out.
Yeah.
And so pretty much there was an explosion
you had your coming out after the relationship. That's what you're saying.
Essentially,
Pretty much.
pretty much. And
Man, just lean back, just relax.
yeah, but like, you know, it was I look back, and whenever I do, I notice that I didn't really do anything for myself. I did everything for other people, and I did everything for that person.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to get into too much, but like whenever they did something bad,
Yeah.
I saw myself as sort of a Jesus figure,
Yeah.
and was like,
Yeah.
you know, just like, hey, like I'll help you through it, sort of deal.
Yeah.
Which that was not a good idea, because
At all.
that ended up giving me a lot of anxiety, and I was maybe having like anxiety attacks maybe like 3 or 4 times a week.
Yeah.
Because of it.
So,
And it got worse, and everything snowballed, and it was no longer healthy for either side. And on top of that, I was dealing with a lot of stress from work, because I was hurting a lot, and like I had a lot of issues with my back, and then I had issues with my foot, because I had a bunion.
Right.
And so so I had to get surgery on it, and I was gone for a month, and then when I came back, they
treated you like
well,
trash.
yeah, well, like I was on restrictions for about like 2 months, and after about 2.5 weeks, which is in all honesty about the time I predicted that they would go, till they were like, "Hey, you seem able-bodied enough. Go lift some heavy
Go do
stuff."
stuff now.
Yeah. And I was like, "I'm on restrictions."
We don't care. Go.
Right, yeah, but like at the same time, because they didn't care, I didn't really care.
Yeah.
Because where my mindset was, hey, you know, if they don't care, that's totally fine. Because then if I get hurt, then it's on them.
Yeah.
You know, then.
Yeah. At that point, you can just go workers' comp, and then you're the beneficiary.
Right. Yeah. So, but I mean, like ever since then, though, they've gotten a lot better. Like management has actually changed.
Oh.
And so, there's like new policies and all that sort of stuff. And like if someone is hurt, then like they take it seriously. But like they're not gonna like believe the guy though that's like, oh, my back hurts and whatnot,
right,
you know.
Right.
But like if like they actually like see that like your back is like hurting, or like your leg just like gave out on you, they're gonna be like, hey, you all right?
We're gonna give you a break there.
Yeah. So
okay. So what I wanted to talk about, because I know that's. Well, first I want to bring up, you mentioned being in a relationship that where you were like, you felt like you had to take more responsibility. And I was in a similar situation, because we were both dating women who were younger than us.
Mm-hmm.
And in very unique situations compared to us.
Yeah.
So I very much relate to some similar experiences. The first time around I was dating this girl, there's definitely a level of maturity difference. But I was like, no, I'm helping her, develop this, it was terrible. And the first time we broke up, it was because she took acid and slept in the same bed with another dude. And I was like, I'm gonna pass on this.
Yeah.
Like, and nothing in, like, against her for doing drugs or whatever. Like, at this point, I'm like, recreational drug use. I recommend everybody try something at some point. That's just, I've been listening to Joe Rogan enough that DMT sounds like the next fun trip.
Well, like, and my like whole mindset on that has really like sort of changed, but like, sort of a little bit. Like, I've been a lot more like open to like, if you're gonna do drugs, like go do drugs, but like my thing is like treat it like alcohol, do it responsibly.
Yeah.
And like I can't. It grinds my gears whenever young people do it. Like,
before they're 21,
before
or
they're 21 or anything.
Sort of.
Well, it's not just like just the science. It's just like the fact that like you have your whole life ahead of you, and you're devoting it to like drugs and all this sort of stuff. And no, I'm not saying people that take drugs are bad people. Just if you're listening to this, just go get a snack. But what I'm saying is like whenever you're young, you don't need to be focusing on that sort of stuff. You don't need to be going to those parties and all that sort of stuff, and you also don't need to do it for a coping mech. Like, oh well, I have demons. Like, well, I have demons too, but the way how I cope with it is by writing.
Or writing, or whatever is your therapy. Well, that's the thing. So I say therapy, and then I start to say whatever is your therapy, but that's the problem. What do we make our therapy?
Right.
Which, I mean, I think I agree for the most part. I mean, obviously, younger people are going to do it just because that's how they're rebelling. That's how they're doing what teenagers and adolescents do.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, like they're exploring, but they're exploring when they shouldn't be, and that just keeps getting younger and younger. So it's partially the societal thing. It's partially just
right.
A lot of
Otherwise,
factors.
like if like you got a good paying job and like your life is ahead of you.
And you aren't going to get in trouble.
And you aren't going to get in trouble for exactly. Do whatever you want. I really don't care at that point. You're a free person.
You've become a little bit more libertarian in that respect, though.
A little bit. Like I do like. I definitely think like it can be taxed.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And there can be a flourishing business.
Well, shit. Look at Michigan.
Yeah.
Michigan's doing amazing. Well, not amazing. Let's not be over dramatic.
Do I need to say the word Detroit?
I thought you were going to say Flint, but fair enough.
Yeah.
So I think they're finally getting healthy drinking water. It's been like 4 years, but they as soon as they legalized marijuana, like money started rolling in.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, that's good. So Illinois does it. So Ohio does it, and we're sitting here in Indiana. And it's like
Kentucky then did it too.
We're the one kid that everybody's peer pressuring. Yeah, exactly. Kentucky did.
So like we're the only.
Yeah,
there's like a circle around Indiana right now with all the states looking at us like elbowing us.
We're boxed in by all the druggies. Except we have probably one of the highest meth and heroin.
Yeah, so like that's why I say like why legalize pot in Indiana whenever you have meth and heroin, man?
No, that's exactly why you legalize it. So there's an alternative that's healthier that they aren't going to get in trouble for.
Right.
In my opinion, that's my hot take. Not really. It's a pretty common take, especially when there's like. Have you heard about like the needle distribution centers and like how? So there's two different things. Okay. So there's a program. And I don't know if it's active in Indiana because I know there's been a lot of controversy about it. But I know there are some areas around the country where the program is people who use drugs can bring in their dirty needles and exchange them for clean needles, for sterile needles. Right. Which when you think about hepatitis, when you think about HIV, when you think about like the diseases that can be spread because of using a dirty needle, that is a good way to try to address that problem in certain communities. Right?
Right.
Can be. A lot of people don't think it's a good idea. They think it encourages it. I think that's stupid. I think people who are going to use drugs are going to use drugs anyway.
Right.
The other idea is one that I'm not sure how I feel about as much. I think it's an interesting kind of twist on that first idea. And a lot of people hate the idea. It's a place where people can go shoot up. And they're in a controlled environment. And they can ride out their high. And then they can go. They don't supply the drugs. People can bring their own in. They use sterile needles. They're in a controlled environment. There's people there if they OD.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of interesting things there that I'm like, okay, it's providing a healthy way for people to use this drug. I don't know how that works in a legal sense.
I was just thinking like,
but at the same time, I don't
see how you can make that. The legalities of that just seem like through the roof.
Yeah, it seems super questionable, which is why I feel a little off by it. But at the same time, like the controlled environment, the safety nets that are there for people who are using drugs, especially heroin, because like there's so many heroin ODs.
Oh yeah.
Like it's ridiculous. And so like the idea of that happening to me, that sounds cool. Like that side of it, of like creating a healthier space for people who obviously have problems, who are obviously dealing with things in an unhealthy way. That could help them, and also providing them with materials and providing them with resources to try to get them out of it while they're there. That to me is kind of interesting. And we totally went off on we rambled rabbits. we are the rambling rabbits. Yeah. And I'm just going to go ahead and bring that up as a transition.
Yeah.
So we're both wrestling fans.
Yes.
Hell in a Cell was this weekend. A lot of you out there who are listening, you might not know exactly what I'm talking about. This is not a paid sponsorship. WWE Network is only $10 a month. You can catch up on all kinds of different wrestling.
Oh, by the way, first month is free.
First month is free. That's true when you sign up. So I would recommend getting Network, watching Hell in a Cell if you're really that interested. If not, and you're actually listening to this and you know who I am, just message me and I will just give you my information and you can sign in and we can do it that way.
I literally did that with my brother.
Right, exactly.
So like it's like a Netflix account, but my brother's like mooching off of my network account. So
Yeah, no, me and my friend did that all the time. We would
but like
just-
it was
one of
really
us would
weird
have
because during Hell in a Cell, it kept like bumping him out.
Really?
Yeah, kicking him out. So like he was like, I can't really watch it. So I was just like, okay, well, maybe they're finally cracking down on people that mooch, or something like that. Which I don't know why they would do because that seems to like kill an audience. But
Oh, you mean Hell in a Cell didn't?
yeah. That I actually. I don't know if you. Oh wait, I sent it to you. Brazzers.
Oh my God, yes.
For those of you that don't know, Brazzers is an adult site.
Just call it a porn site.
It's pretty much it is.
It's a porn site.
It is a porn site. They tweeted at WWE, and I died laughing after Hell in a Cell. They said, "Hey WWE, if you want to learn how to write like coherent storylines with satisfying finishes, let us know."
So here's the big thing that happened. This is a big wrestling controversy. Because I don't care about political or any other controversies. I care about wrestling. I care about the things that matter. The things that matter to me, anyway. So
global warming? Nah. Did you see Hell in a Cell this weekend?
Well, yeah, but all the science behind never mind. I'm not even going to start that argument. I was total bullshitting anyway. So what happened is there was this big match that was the main event. First match of the actual card was phenomenal.
That was easily the match of the night.
Right, was the match of the night because the main event could have been the match of the night, but they completely screwed the match up.
The whole thing.
So the idea of Hell in a Cell is that you have this giant cage around the ring, but you can still get outside of the ring and like go underneath the apron and like pull out weapons and stuff and use a bunch of weapons during the match. And it's like a no disqualification, do whatever you want, just hurt the other person and make a fun match sort of thing.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't like wrestling, yes, we know it's fake. Try to take a few kendo stick shots and a few chops to the chest.
There's
you'll
no
understand.
wrestler in the world that would go, I feel like getting hit with a kendo stick today.
Or a chair.
Yeah, I feel like getting hit in the back with a steel chair.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like getting smashed through a table today and having a sore back. Yeah.
The funny thing is, wrestlers learn how to take. They're called bumps.
Yeah.
And essentially, they just learn how to take pain and learn how to take hits, so it doesn't hurt as much.
Yeah,
and so that they don't actually break their bodies, even though most of them break their bodies. So what happened is there was this match between this character named the Fiend, Bray Wyatt. You can look him up. You may have seen his face on Fox because they've been doing some very interesting advertising with him recently. And the current champ, Seth Rollins, who is CrossFit Jesus. If you look him up, you'll see him with his new girlfriend, Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
Or fiance Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
Poor guys who love Becky Lynch. So
AKA me.
AKA, well, we have Alexa to hope for still. Alexa Bliss, just if you want to look her up, you'll enjoy her Instagram. So essentially they have this big match, and Seth Rollins is throwing everything at the Fiend. Like, he's hitting him with all of his finishers, all of his like special moves, hitting him with kendo stick shots, hitting him with chairs, everything he can.
Yeah.
And the Fiend he's not fazed by it. And it is the coolest fucking thing I have seen on a wrestling pay-per-view for a while. Like, the way the Fiend was in that match was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I was so impressed. And then they have this moment where the champ starts like, the Fiend's on the ground, and so he like starts hitting him with stuff, and he hits him in the head with the chair, which that's actually something that hasn't happened a lot in WWE because of just certain rules and injuries they've been trying to put in place. Rules because of injuries that they're trying to put in place, sorry. And so he hits him in the head with the chair, but it looks like the chair hits the ground. Like, again, you have to be a wrestling fan to kind of know what's going on. But they have him hit him with the chair, and then hit him again, and then put the chair on top of his head, and then hit the chair with a ladder, which is really weird to see, but it was kind of cool. And then put the chair between the legs of the ladder, set that on top of his head, stomp that on him, and then he goes out to get a sledgehammer. Now, earlier in the match, the Fiend had pulled out this giant Warhammer-looking, like Harley Quinn-looking mallet thing, and just like impales Seth Rollins. I hated that. I hated
that was
like
hilarious.
just keeps knocking.
He impaled him with the hammer.
He impaled him with the hammer. It was so dumb. It was it was cool looking. It was bad commentary.
Yeah.
So he already pulled out this giant mallet and was hitting Seth Rollins with it, and took a curb stomp, which is like smashing his head onto the mallet.
Yeah.
But when Seth Rollins gets a sledgehammer and gets back in the ring, the ref's like, no, you've done too much. You're gonna kill him. Like, and Casey and I, who have been wrestling fans for a long time, we've seen Mick Foley and Shane McMahon jump off the top of these cages.
Yes.
And Mick Foley be slammed through the top of one of these cages.
Yeah, Mick Foley almost died twice in the same
Hell in a Cell match. Yes.
He was thrown off of it, and then he was thrown through it. Yeah. And he landed so hard in the ring after he was thrown through it that he actually made an indentation in the ring.
Yeah, he broke the boards under the ring.
Yeah, and he was actually knocked out cold for a little bit. And the Undertaker, who he was in the match with, was looking down, and you can actually see it in his face. Like, he breaks character and has this look on his face of like, oh my god, did I just kill a man? Like,
yeah, because the support wasn't supposed to fall through.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
So Mick Foley actually, because of that, he had an injury where some of his teeth were lodged through his lip. Yeah. Did you know that as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. So all kinds of messed up stuff have happened in Hell in a Cell. But get a sledgehammer, which has been used umpteen times in the same match by other wrestlers. Yeah. And the ref's like, no, you've gone too far, And, he's trying to convince Seth not to do it, and you see him kind of like, at first he's super excited.
In these kinds of matches, you see that sort of thing all the time, because I mean, that just sort of like shows like the character and sort of like helps build like what this match can really like do to somebody.
Right.
But like that's all the referee can ever do in these matches is like just try to reason with people. So like I had no problems with that. But what came next?
Because then Seth's like, okay, maybe you're right. And as soon as the ref starts to move out of the way, hammer comes down right on top of the ladder that's on top of the chair, on top of the other ladder leg on the Fiend's head. Which again sounds like such a dumb spot, but was cool to watch. Also, a spot is like a moment in wrestling, like a big move or a big scene in wrestling or in a match. So the ref starts waving his hands and the bell rings. Now, this is a no DQ match. Obviously, they're using weapons and all kinds of stuff. They're not just in the ring. And they didn't explain what happened. They didn't say what the calling was or what the ruling was. So you have this audience who have been actually cheering for the Fiend, this monster, rather than Seth Rollins most of the match. Mm-hmm. And they see the match get thrown out because something that's legal to do in the match was done. And so everybody thinks that the champ was disqualified in a no DQ match. So then some other stuff ensues. They end up, pulling the cage up. They have people come out and check on Bray. Seth tries to get back in and still beat him up.
The entire time this is going
just
on,
gone crazy.
The crowd is chanting bullshit.
They're chanting AEW, which is a different promotion.
Yeah, it's imagine. For those that don't watch wrestling, let me try to put it into your perspective like this. Imagine if
somebody went.
Imagine if the Super Bowl were so bad that the fans at the Super Bowl started chanting NHL, like a different sport or something like that. That's sort of pretty much like the same thing.
I have a better one.
Yeah.
Imagine back during the elections if you went to a Trump rally. And you started chanting Marco Rubio, Rubio, like that. It wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But the crowd was so upset they didn't care. They were just so mad about the quality of the match and the ending of the match. Well, the ending of the match, not the quality of the match.
Yeah.
But then, Seth Rollins is still crazy. So even though everybody's around the Fiend and like trying to check on him and everything, put him on a gurney, he runs in and tries to fight him. Which of course, and we both expected this to happen.
Yeah.
As soon as Seth Rollins gets near him, the Fiend reaches up and like puts him in a submission.
Yeah.
And then takes him outside of the ring and does a move on him on the concrete, and then puts him in the submission again, and like fake blood starts coming out of his mouth, which it looks so fake. It was bad.
It was so lame.
But it was like, yes, that's the ending we wanted, but why couldn't that have happened in the match?
Right. And like what was really crazy was The Monday Night Raw following
Didn't
it,
address it.
they did not even address
Seth Rollins didn't even come out.
Seth didn't even come
Fiend
out.
didn't
The
come
Fiend
out.
wasn't there. Even wrestlers backstage at Hell in a Cell were actually like saying like they were like really like, what the hell was that finish?
Yeah.
Like even they
did
didn't
you see
understand.
the watch along?
No.
So WWE had a watch along.
Okay.
X-Pac was there.
Oh gosh.
And
how critical he is.
He literally said, "Hey, you guys might not invite me on after I say this, but what in the hell? How do you get disqualified in a freaking Hell in a Cell match?"
Yeah.
He says that out loud because nobody knew what the call was.
I actually have a funny text message for you here. This is a chain of text with my girlfriend.
Oh, that's right, because your girlfriend's a wrestling fan as well.
She's a wrestling fan as well.
Also, if there are any women wrestling fans, hi, I'm single. Because that would be great to watch and actually enjoy wrestling with somebody.
So she sent me a text saying that Seth's finisher move is stupid. I think we already explained it, but his move is called the curb stomp, where he just runs up and like just
smashes somebody's head.
Yeah, smashes somebody's head with his boot into the mat.
So yeah.
But I was trying to explain to her, but it was funny because she said Seth's finisher is stupid. I said, "Have you ever been stomped in the head before?" She said, "I sure as heck can tell you it wouldn't faze me." I said, "Okay, well."
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no. I was like, well, the move is actually like super dangerous.
Yeah. They actually didn't have him do it for a while.
Because he's literally putting his foot on the back of their neck, like
and
at
pushing down,
like on the bottom of their neck, and he's not even allowed to push. They actually have to like sell it themselves, and he has to pull his leg at the same time that he pushes his leg down.
Yeah.
I explained to her that's why it was temporarily banned because. And Seth did the pedigree for a little bit.
People didn't know how to take it.
Because people didn't know how to take it. Not only that, but if Seth were to mess it up, or if somebody were to like do it completely wrong, he could have seriously hurt them and even killed them. Like it is a very dangerous move.
There was a time when Cena was like the commissioner or whatever for Raw for like 3 weeks, and Rollins comes out when Edge, who has been injured and has a neck problem,
yeah.
He threatened to kill him with the curb stomp.
Yeah.
And it was like, what the fuck? Like that's, and I think that's one of the reasons it was taken out for a while. Too.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So she just thought his finisher was stupid, and it was because he has to use like 3 or 4 of them anytime he's in a match now.
Yeah, and like that's why I think like that finisher's like completely gone.
Yes, they need to give him a new finisher.
They need to give him a new finisher, or they need to rebuild that finisher back up by having him do it once in a match, and it knocks the person out cold. 1, 2, 3.
Or just do the pedigree. I'm okay with him doing the pedigree. I'm totally fine with him doing the pedigree.
I'm totally fine with it too. I think the problem is that Triple H's pedigree just looks better than Seth's does, which I agree. Like Seth's looks a little sloppy.
I don't know. Some of Triple H's were pretty sloppy too.
Yeah,
but the move's very easy to do.
It is very easy. So
if they don't do it right. Yeah. Anyway, so that was our wrestling fan coming out. But going back to the actual match and the problems we had with it. So obviously the ending was trash. They ruled it as a no contest. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
They posted on WWE's website. People have been talking about it since. Or no, sorry, ref stoppage. I heard it was supposed to be no contest. I think they switched it after some other people came out and said
the
ref stoppage would be better. So a ref stoppage in WWE wrestling speak is the ref sees that one of the competitors is not able to defend themselves. A lot like UFC, it'd be like a TKO.
Yeah. Where the ref goes down to the down person and like maybe squeezes them and they can't squeeze back and he waves it off.
Right. Or like with Mayweather McGregor, when McGregor couldn't keep his arms up because he was just so gassed.
Yeah.
It was a TKO.
Yeah.
So that's the sort of situation. So they're calling it like that. Even though right after the match was ended, the Fiend gets up and has this fun, like amazing recovery where he was completely fine pretty much the whole time. Another interesting fact, he did actually get a concussion.
He did? That doesn't surprise me, actually.
No, it doesn't.
Because that stuff was piled onto, like, it was on his chest, like, most of it was on his chest, which took most of the blow, but the rest of it was, like, anchored on his head. Yeah. So, that was...
Well, there's that. There's all the curb stomps he had to sell, which, when you do 10 curb stomps in a row... It was practically 10. I think there was actually 10 total.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and watch the match. So I want to talk to you about this since you're a writer.
Mm-hmm.
From a writing perspective, how would you take them out of the box they just put themselves in?
How would I salvage this?
Mm-hmm. Because at this point, I don't know if you can, and so I'm
No.
kind of curious.
No.
You don't think there's? You don't
I
think
don't.
there's
I
a way
don't
out?
think there's. I don't think there's
Even
a way.
if it was a ref stoppage.
I think there is only one way, but it's so nobody would buy it, nobody would listen to it, and that's just to basically just repeat what they already did, just explain there that the reason why we had the ref stoppage is because we were worried that the Fiend might have been killed or could have been killed by Seth, which you're rolling your eyes. That's just reiterate everything is how I would just kind of go about it, and then the next pay-per-view, I would have had like I don't know, like a last man standing sort of match or something like that. Like another sort of stipulation match where it's like you guys are gonna go at it,
Right.
and like I would make it so that the last man standing match, I would add a stipulation in there and say that you guys are gonna go until there is a last man standing.
Right.
There will be no referee stoppage, and that's how I would try to salvage it. And then, of course, I would have had the Fiend win, and then have the Fiend build off of a rivalry with Seth for one more match, and then have Seth go do some other stuff, and maybe have some time off to enjoy his engagement with Becky, and
That means she has to lose her belt too, which
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
okay with that. I just don't know who they'd have to take it off of her.
Yeah.
Well, they also have the draft coming up
They
though,
also have
so
the draft,
that could
so.
change some things.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm kind of looking at it because we don't know how things are going to be shaken up at the draft.
Yeah.
I do wonder if they plan on putting the Fiend on SmackDown because of how much they've been advertising it on Fox.
Yeah.
Which
that makes me think that might be the reason why they didn't have the Fiend.
I still hate that though.
Yeah, exactly. Like they should have had the Fiend win, and if they didn't want to give him the belt, that's fine. Then they should have still had a match where it ends properly.
Yeah.
I mean,
because they could have made it a non-title match.
They could have made it.
They could have had Bray win, and it would have been fine.
Yeah, exactly. They could have just had it just be a Hell in a Cell non-title.
Yeah.
Sort of deal.
Because they could have, what they could have done, and again, this isn't taking them out of the box they're in. This is trying to fix the box. They could have had it so Bray Wyatt was like, "No, Seth, I don't want to take your title. You're my best friend."
Yeah.
Fiend.
Yeah.
He wants some fun.
Yeah.
If they would have built that, that would have been so much fun.
That would have been cool.
That would have been great because then it doesn't matter if Seth loses.
Let's see. I think just writing wise, I think they've been really missing a whole lot of opportunities. Like
and they've been
for
very
like the past
inconsistent.
year. Well, like I brought an idea up to my brother that they did not do for WrestleMania 35 that I would have loved to have seen.
What's that?
So for those that don't know, Trish Stratus is probably one of the best women wrestlers of all time, and she had the title like 7 times, I think, like that. She had the women. She was the most crowned women's champion of WWE history at the time.
Yeah, not
seven championships. Well, Charlotte, before WrestleMania 35, she won another championship, and that made 8.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, they're missing out on an opportunity here because, from me personally, I didn't really care to see Charlotte versus Becky versus Ronda. I wanted to just see Becky versus Ronda because they were building that the entire time. I did not want Charlotte to be in there. So how I would have done it is the fact that they did not make a big deal out of Charlotte becoming like an 8th champion. They really didn't. Like she won the title, and then everybody was like, "Oh, Charlotte is the champion again." Right. And then it wasn't until like at WrestleMania that they started to like really just push that idea and be like, "She's an 8-time champion, the most of anyone." And I was just like, "So you guys are aware? So why not have like an awesome passing of the torch kind of match, like you have with Rock and Cena, like you did with Rock and Hogan, where you have those passing of the torches kind of matches where you put that title on the line and you have Trish Stratus versus Charlotte at WrestleMania 35 for the women's title. That would have been awesome.
Didn't they have Trish Stratus
at SummerSlam?
Yeah. So,
but I think it just for the time, it would have been
Well,
so much better if it was at
a non-title
WrestleMania.
match too.
Yeah, so that's why I think it would have been done so much better if it was at WrestleMania. You know, I think that would be an awesome WrestleMania moment.
I think you're right. However, the more I think about where Ronda was, and the fact that she was getting ready to leave, the fact that she wasn't very good in ring. I mean, she was okay. Yeah. She was better than I think people expected her to be.
Yeah.
But having Charlotte in there to help the match with her and Becky, that makes more sense the more I look at it. It
does.
From an in-ring perspective, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
From a booking perspective, I hate it. I hate the idea.
Yeah. Well, I think another reason too is just to play it safe.
Yeah.
Because if, say, Ronda were to get hurt or Becky were to get hurt,
right.
well then there's still Charlotte. There's still somebody there that can boost the match. So I think they were trying to play a little bit safe with that as well.
And here's so first of all, yes, women's wrestling is amazing. Like women wrestlers now are so much better.
Yeah, it's no longer pee breaks.
It's no longer pee breaks, and it's no longer just bra and panty matches, which is great. Women actually have a lot more respect in the industry as a whole.
Yeah.
I know this is a complete side rant from what we were talking about, but it is something I do want to hit on. If you've ever been somebody who wasn't into wrestling as a female and you're like, oh, it's just guys being all sweaty men and, it's just women being... Check it out now.
Like, it's seriously, at Hell in a Cell, the women had the match of the night.
The women pulled that card. Even the women's tag team match.
Yeah.
Because you had Asuka using Green Mist, which was amazing. It was such a good callback. And she's doing it more now, but I was still so excited.
Yeah.
So going back to the main event, though.
Mm-hmm.
So... the way to prevent it would have been not to make it a title match. Mm-hmm. In all regards, that would have saved it. They also didn't need to have the match right now. They could have had The Fiend go after anybody else in Hell in a Cell. They could have had Rollins with anybody else for a title match.
Yeah.
Literally, they could have, because they have so much talent on the cards.
Yeah.
And because it's still mixed match rules. They could have done whatever they wanted to. Now, how they write themselves out of this... if they keep Bray on SmackDown, or on Raw with Rollins, assuming that happens. They write it off, and this is something I heard a YouTuber say, so I was kind of curious. My friend sent it to me because he knew I was upset about the ending, and he was like, here, this might be a way to salvage it. And the guy says, it's really easy. Seth Rollins lost. What? He lost the mental war that Bray Wyatt puts everybody through. This was a test for Seth Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Fiend testing Seth to see if he will let him in. What does he do during the match? He goes completely crazy, which he did, and he let Bray Wyatt in. And it's like, how cool would it be if we kind of had like a redo of the Daniel Bryan, Bray Wyatt team up where he just becomes one of his acolytes. And I was like, yeah, that would be cool if that's what this Bray Wyatt was about.
I don't. Yeah.
But the Fiend Bray Wyatt isn't the Wyatt family Bray Wyatt. It's not the
And plus, the guy has had like 5 stables anyway, so it's just like, dude, no more stables for that guy.
No, he had a solid stable. They just didn't book it well.
Yeah.
And then he lost the tag team there. He lost a tag team championship with Randy Orton, and then lost the World Heavyweight Championship to Randy Orton in a very bad WrestleMania match.
Yes.
But I didn't like most of that WrestleMania anyway. Because that was also the John Cena, Nikki Bella, Miz, Maurice, where he proposed, and then now they're broken up, which I think is hilarious. No offense, Cena. It is, from a storyline perspective. Yeah. Anyway, so looking at the story, looking at them trying to write a way out of it, the only sense it makes from a fan perspective, from somebody who thinks about the industry a little bit more than just somebody who watches wrestling just to watch wrestling. Because there is a difference. Some people don't care about the politics. They don't care about looking at the deeper stuff. Which is fine. I do because I think it makes it more interesting.
Yeah.
Much like watching Trump. I think he's a good meme. I don't give a shit about anything else. I don't care about policy. I think he's a good meme right now.
Yeah.
But wrestling I care about. I have my priorities straight. For this match, if The Fiend does go to SmackDown, I'm worried about one thing, and that's that nothing's going to happen.
That's exactly what would happen.
Because you have Brock, unless he beats Brock. The only thing I'd be happy about is if he beats Brock.
That would be the only thing going for him. But
That
right
would be
now,
the only thing I'd be happy about.
They brought out Cain Velasquez, so I don't even know if they'll even.
Because that's supposed to be the Saudi Arabia match, I think.
Yeah.
I think they're going to do Cain versus Brock, which the Saudi Arabia matches are so dumb. You also have this whole thing with Rusev right now, with his wife sleeping with Bobby Lashley, which makes no sense. There's a lot of stuff going on right now.
There's a lot of stuff that I feel like from a writing perspective, it's inconsistent and it's another word that I don't even know.
So if you could pick,
yeah,
I'm gonna. So how much time do we have? How much time do you have? Because I know you kind of have. You have to go.
No. I got maybe about another 45 minutes or so.
Okay,
yeah.
so we're good to try to go down this rabbit trail. So as a writer, what are 3 storylines with either tag teams or single wrestlers that you would like to write? Like, if you could write any storyline for somebody, what would you do right now, given the current state of WWE? How would you book it?
How would I?
How would you book it?
Like my own fantasy? How would I book, or like how would I like book off of what's going on?
Off of everything that's currently in the WWE, how would you book 3 different storylines? So pick the one that you want to see the most. That's what it comes down to first.
Well,
Oh, I know the one because we already talked about this last time. New Day.
Was it my
New Day?
My New Day one.
Yeah. So go ahead and explain that one.
Yeah. I would love to a lot.
Yeah.
My girlfriend and my brother both they both get really angry with me whenever I bring this up, but I think it would be fantastic. Because it opens up the realm of new superstars and more pushes and whatnot. I definitely think they should give the title back to Kofi, and then have the New Day turn on Kofi. Because not necessarily the New Day, but I definitely think like Big E should probably maybe turn on Kofi. Because we've seen Big E as a heel before, and I think he would do a really good job now that he's had these other guys to work with.
And he's gotten 10 times better.
And he's gotten 10 times better as a wrestler as well, yeah. So I think it'd be cool if Big E turned on the New Day. Xavier Woods were to sort of take a tweener sort of phase, like try to be the man in the middle of everything. And Kofi, of course, be the face. And then have a New Day triple threat match. I think that would be absolutely fantastic. That would be awesome. Yes, I realize it would break up the most amazing tag team, like possibly ever. But at the same time, you're giving a push to 2 new guys that have never been in the championship conversation before, and you're putting them in there, and that makes it fresh, that makes it exciting, and that allows these guys who've never been championship contenders before to try to prove to management that they can be championship contenders and all that sort of stuff. So that would be a storyline that I would like to see. I'd definitely like to write in.
I would absolutely love to see either Kofi with Xavier win a couple more tag team titles, just them two, and have Big E as a heel, chasing one of the big titles and having it like a main title.
Yeah.
I think that'd be phenomenal. I also think if Kofi and Xavier don't team up, I would love to see them on different brands pursuing the mid card.
Yeah. Well, like, and that was another thing.
And having Kofi kind of be in that running, but not push him the way they did.
That was another thing I wanted to kind of see was I wanted to see the New Day sort of like become like the like evolution from back in the day. I want Kofi to have the world title, and I want Big E to have the Intercontinental title while also having the tag team title with Xavier Woods. Yeah. I want the New Day to have all the belts, and then that would give them like or at least it would give Big E a bigger reason, like if he were to lose the title, to then go after Kofi or something like that and turn on him, turn on Xavier Woods if they were to lose also the tag team title. So now Big E is like, I just lost everything and it's all because of you guys or something like that. You know, like that would be a great turn of events. and whatnot.
So here's the funny thing. So going back to what's actually happening in the company right now.
Yeah.
They could have done that.
They could.
Had they not done what they did to Kofi.
Yeah.
They still can. They can still have Big E turn. They can still have him turn heel and be like, listen, you're not the leader we thought you were because you lost to Brock Lesnar in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, you could do that. Oh my gosh. Right. So here's the thing. When you look at it and you look at the current wrestling climate and you realize that AEW is the reason that they did that.
Yeah.
Because the only reason they pulled Cain Velasquez as quick as they did was because they had the Fox deal and because they needed to compete with AEW because AEW probably could have got him easier.
Yeah.
Had they not thrown a shit ton of money and said, hey, we have Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Which, that is going to be a stiff match.
It's not going to be that.
It's not going to be good at all. It's going to be a horrible idea. Somebody is going to get seriously hurt. And WWE is going to be out of champ.
Yep.
They are. Cain apparently has wrestled some matches in Mexico, so he knows what he's doing. He can do in ring. So he can work with other people.
Yeah.
Possibly better than Brock at times.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not a UFC guy. Cain Velasquez means nothing to me. Like, literally,
Cain Velasquez beat the ever-living snot out of Brock Lesnar to win the. Well, like, yeah. It was a match at first, yeah. But then it obviously started to go one way, and it was all Cain.
Yeah.
And that was obvious, and so.
Which is funny because even then, Brock was bigger than Cain.
Oh yeah.
He's still bigger than Cain.
He's still bigger than Cain. Like, but to me, like, whenever people say, "Oh, like that dude's really big," like, to me, I've never really cared about the size of a guy. It's like, what can that guy do technically that the other guy can't?
Yeah.
Because whenever you watch a lot of UFC, it's not necessarily the hardest hitting guys. Sometimes those guys can win, but that's really what most of them go off of is the fact that they'll hit you across the head so hard you'll be, you'll go out, But I think it's the technical guys that really.
John Jones.
Yeah, that really just they win because they can outsmart the other guy and whatnot.
So yeah, but for me, like, Cain isn't a pull because I wasn't watching UFC back then. I've just started to watch it a little bit more recently, but even then, I'm not super into it.
He's a draw. He's easily a draw.
He's a draw. But then they also have this thing with Braun, where he's going to get married by some boxer.
Yeah.
I don't know who the boxer is either.
Tyson Fury.
I know the name, but I don't.
Yeah, I've heard the name before, but like I don't keep up with like I said, I only keep up with the UFC and WWE. That's
right. So for me, there's 2 draws right now that they're creating storylines around.
Yeah.
They could be using their own talent for, which bothers me. Yeah. Which is why I like fantasy booking. Which is why, as you as a writer, me as somebody who just loves watching wrestling and imagines what could be, I like talking about this.
Yeah.
So New Day is still a possibility. It wouldn't be Evolution level, but I think having them break up, having them have some really good feuds, some really great matches.
Oh yeah.
Between the 3 of them.
The 3 of them would have fantastic matches, and that's why I think it would be awesome to have them all in a triple threat match because they've worked together for so long. They know their moveset and just everything. They know how to work off each other, and that's why I think it would be awesome to have like a 20-minute match between the 3 of them. That would be awesome.
So that one I completely agree with you. What's another one you'd want to do?
I think I mentioned it before, and that's to have Becky Lynch win the Royal Rumble.
I didn't like that one.
Yeah, I know.
Have her win the men's Royal Rumble.
Have her win the men's Royal Rumble, and then have her win the WWE Championship, and be like the first woman like WWE champion. I think that would be pretty badass. And I definitely think she's the draw to do it. I don't think it's Charlotte. And I've said this before. Charlotte is probably the best in ring of the active roster, but on the mic, it's the same thing over and over again. It's the same cadence. It's the same voice. There's no different reasoning for her to go into
just like
fights.
Her dad.
Yeah, I mean, and that's
you gotta beat the man to beat the man.
Yeah, and like it just gets annoying but like. I wouldn't say that that's the reason why it gets annoying. I would just say that idea of her, well, not just the idea, the cadence in which she carries herself is what, like, I am the queen of the WWE, and this is my palace.
But
like,
I think it
shut up.
I think it bothers you though because of how good she is at playing that character.
It's not just, I wouldn't even say it has anything to do with that character. It's just the cadence of the voice. I think
that's where it's coming from.
I don't think it represents the mic skills that I know she clearly does have.
That's true.
It does not do her any justice to have that. So on the mic, Becky Lynch is number one.
Well, yeah, but you got to figure that's also the writers giving them their content.
Right.
Because they still do have scripted promos. I heard they're starting to go away from that, which I'm curious to see how that works. But I also think part of the cadence, at least for Charlotte, I think that is her playing up the queen role. I think that is her fitting a character role to some extent. But I will agree, a lot of the times her promos aren't as good. So the idea of Becky winning the WWE Championship, it depends on who she's booked against. But I don't think you can do that without having another main event player looking extremely weak. I don't think there's a way to do that well. There just isn't. Unless it's like a no DQ match. And then that's still not going to look good.
Right.
So that's my only thing on that end. I think that is definitely a fantasy book.
Yeah.
I think it would be fun to have her win a Royal Rumble, but then have her go after like a men's intercon, like pull a China. Like, go after a mid-card title. I think that would make more sense to me. Because I think that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Or have her do the U.S. champ, because she would be the first woman U.S. champ.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
That would be cool.
Because China was the first woman intercontinental.
Yeah.
So that could be a way to do it, but I don't think WWE title would make sense for any woman wrestler. And that's just because I think the women's titles are developing well enough that A, you don't need it.
Yeah.
And B, there is a dynamic between men and women that it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
Because who's in the main event picture in your mind for either title right now? Give me 6 names.
For either.
Who is WWE booking in the top?
Seth, Braun, Fiend, and
Brock.
Yeah.
So there's 4.
Yeah.
Can you see Becky Lynch taking any of them out?
No.
Okay, thank you. That's my point. Like you can't logically book that one. And it makes sense. Otherwise, you're just making them look like trash.
Yeah.
So that would be hard for me. Here's one, given the current setting, that I think would be interesting. I think they need to have Ali and Cedric Alexander be a tag team. Okay. I think they need to take some of the 205 Live guys, and they need to start just making factions out of them. Not just making factions. I think you need to have one faction on each SmackDown, Raw, and NXT, who are all 205 guys, who start chasing actual titles. So here's my idea. All right. So Ali, obviously, he's had his matches with Kofi. He's had his matches with Daniel Bryan. He's had his matches with. He is a great in-ring guy. Cedric Alexander, same thing. Amazing in-ring guy. Both of them don't have much character, really. They're just both the good guys. They're just both faces. Cedric Alexander and him as a tag team is viable as tag team champs. Right? You can see that.
Yeah.
You could see them both as mid-card titles, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now imagine you add like 1 or 2 more to that stable.
Yeah.
Now imagine they turn heel. And imagine Ali gets a title shot. You're liking that, right?
I
now imagine doing something like that with Lucha House Party.
They wouldn't do that to the Lucha House Party, though.
But
they never would.
I know, because it's a joke. But but those guys are phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
They're literally just keeping them so somebody else doesn't have them. If those guys were in AEW right now,
yeah, they'd be tag champs for ever.
With Pentagon Jr. and his brother.
Yeah.
And those, oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, you would have so many 5-star matches coming out of AEW, they wouldn't know what to do with them.
Yeah.
Like, Meltzer would just be like, every match 5 stars. Just, like, Kenny Omega's in every match now, But it's just a whole other conversation with Kenny right now because he has been booked terribly. But I'm curious as to what they're going to do with that because he's lost like every match so far. He has currently won no matches in AEW. You realize that, yes? Yeah. I'm curious what they're going to do with that. Yeah. I really hope they turn him to heel, Kenny, because that would be super fun.
Where is your bathroom?
My bathroom is right around the corner. Do you need to go?
I have to drop a coffee deuce.
Oh, yep, yes you do. All right. Sorry about that. Had a little brief intermission, which is similar to what I did when we were recording at your place.
Yeah.
So obviously talked a lot about wrestling. I can't remember exactly what the point we were at. So we'll see if we edit this section here in a minute. But so we were fantasy booking a little bit, but you mentioned kind of going back to writing just so we can cover that a little bit.
Yeah.
For you talked to me a little bit last time about your writing process. Mm-hmm. So go into that a little bit for me because I know we're kind of running low on time, and I do want to kind of bring that out and talk about that part of
sure.
you are.
What about the writing process?
So give us a summary of what writing is for you, because I know you talked to me kind of. There's three different things that you wrote. Like you wrote a pilot episode, you wrote for a film, you're writing a book. And I remember you giving me like a difference between what those three were. So let's go ahead and do that.
Yeah. Well, as I've stated many times before, and I will always continue to state, every writing style is different. Mm-hmm. But for me, a TV pilot is about introducing each of the players, briefly giving them the motivations, and sort of briefly building up the plot, because you'll have plenty of time to do whatever you want with those characters. And sort of writing like the monster of the week sort of thing, where maybe this week we'll focus on this character and their motivations and so on and so forth. Right. A feature, you can do all of that in a condensed version, basically with, like hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hours even, and just get your point across. Right.
It depends on what the focus is for the...
Right, but the focus and the theme is and all that sort of stuff. And then with a book, like, it's been something that I've been learning as I've been going, is that it's very different from writing a screenplay. Yeah. Writing a screenplay, you write the characters and you write the dialogue and you briefly mention the setting, and like sometimes you'll bring up what the characters are wearing if it has any relevance to anything that you want specifically to be messaged in the film and all that sort of stuff. But other than that, it's not very descriptive. Otherwise, it's
mostly dialogue.
It's mostly dialogue and mostly getting the point across. Because a lot of stuff you just really leave up to the actors, the directors. At least I do. Yeah. But in a book, I learned, no, I have to describe everything, every single little detail that I see in my head of like the world that I want to build or something like that. I have to like tell people that's what I see, and I have to describe it in such a way, and that's I guess that's pretty much just like the differences and all that sort of stuff, pretty much essentially.
So really what it comes down to is kind of levels of description that you do for the writing. So like in books, it's obviously very descriptive. Mm-hmm. You're creating everything for the reader.
Yes.
You're developing a world for them to step into. In a lot of ways, you're God in that. Yeah. And I mean that in like a very relaxed sense.
Right. I mean that's essentially like what it is you are the god of this universe or world that you're basically
the god of this city.
Yeah.
So throwback there. So you go from being a god, creating this entire world yourself, to okay, so we're focusing on the interpersonal dynamics and plot relevance of what's going on. So you're kind of taking away some of the description, but still having a vision that you're trying to portray.
And
as a writer specifically.
Yeah, and like going back to like writing a TV show, less is more.
Yes.
Because whenever you're making a series, like what keeps it exciting for me, in all honesty, as a writer, and even with like a book series and all that sort of stuff, is not giving out all the information in X amount of episodes.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't want there to be, like I wouldn't want everything to be told in season 1, because then if I do that, well then what am I going to do with season 2?
Leave them wanting more.
Leave them wanting more, essentially, and then whenever you get to the end, then wrap everything up in a nice bow.
Yeah.
To the point where people watch the show and then they enjoy how it ended and they enjoy the finale of it, to the point where it left them satisfied because they got everything that they wanted, and you're not dragging it on longer than it needs to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that's when you start getting repetitive and the ideas really start becoming stale, all that sort of stuff. So, yeah. I mean, that's essentially just pretty much like how you would write a TV show or even like a book series. Essentially, it's just don't show as much.
So, you were kind of mentioning the staleness, and that actually brought to mind a TV series. I don't know if you've ever seen it, The Mentalist.
Yeah.
You've seen that?
Yeah.
Okay, so
started off good and then it just became the same thing.
It very much was like all other crime shows.
Yeah.
There was one thing that I absolutely loved about it, because I can dig the repetitiveness, but it's the character interaction then that became more fun.
Yeah.
Which I think when a show takes its time to develop the premise, and then they can just kind of be a little bit lazier at the premise to focus on the other aspects of the show.
Yeah.
So that was cool for me. One thing that I did not like, they had a season finale and they had more seasons to come. And they killed off the main antagonist. They killed off literally the one who was motivating the entire series.
Yeah.
Which is interesting when you realize that an antagonist is the biggest protagonist of the entire series. But the moment that happens, some of my friends were like, no, that wasn't good enough. I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
That was the best moment of the series for me. It was so good.
Well, like I mean, as you just said, like whenever you write an antagonist, if you can also make them at the same time a protagonist,
yes,
I think then that's what makes the villain a lot more interesting and a lot more, because Joker, Thanos, these guys where they're not necessarily like evil, they just see things this way.
Well, they're evil, but they are the main driving force behind the story.
Like whenever you have a story, you need an antagonist of some sort, because that's what creates the conflict in the story in the first place, is the antagonist. And so like whenever you have a man versus man, well then you have a good guy and a bad guy. Whenever you have man versus nature, well, what's going on in nature, or the environment around him that's sort of that's affecting him and creating a conflict for him. And even man versus self. I think man versus self are probably my favorite antagonist, because he's having an internal battle with
Give me an example.
Joker.
I don't know if man versus self describes Joker.
To me it was, because
in the new movie, maybe.
In the new movie,
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, I saw it I saw it over the weekend. It was
so I'm supposed to wait to go see it till Sunday. I'm thinking about literally just going today.
Yeah. Do it.
Just going by myself, getting a cheap ticket at Mounds.
Well, like my thing is the reason why I love that movie so much.
Yeah.
And why I have even put it on my top list of like favorite movies right now.
Oh wow, really?
Yes.
Is it in your top 5 now?
It's in my top 5 now. Easily.
Holy, who did it replace?
I don't know. I'll have to look at my list, but
because I know last time you gave me a pretty solid list.
Yeah, it's in there though, because it
was that good.
Well, to me, the reason why it was so good was because the writing was just a full circle. Everything that it's like Chekhov's gun. I don't know if you've ever heard that.
I haven't.
Chekhov's gun is a writing thing where if you have a rifle hanging up on the wall, then in a later scene it has to be loaded and be fired. So essentially meaning that whatever you have in the story has to be used. And every single scene just moved the movie forward. Every single line of dialogue was there for a reason. And so to me, it was a writing achievement more than anything else because it was fantastic. And another thing too was like, I think I liked it a lot on the aspect that it tackled dark depression and suicidal thoughts that I had never seen any other film do before. And that's why I think like there's a lot of controversy around it, which to me is stupid.
Yeah.
I
thought that was dumb when I heard about it.
Yeah, like it. I honestly praise the fact that the film had balls to
go into
what that is because that's a very real subject. I mean, it's a very real subject to me as well because like I mean, like as I previously stated, like I was not in a good state of mind.
For about 2 years.
For about 2 years, and even after everything that happened, because I realized I was living for other people and not living for myself, and so that's why this past year I've been like boom, 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 writing on everything.
You've been working on your passion.
I've been working on my passion,
Yeah.
and in doing so, that's what made me the person I am now.
Oh, absolutely.
And like, that's like whenever I look back in the past, like, did that relationship suck? Yes. Yes. I mean, don't get me wrong. There were good parts.
Did I learn a lot from it?
Did I? Exactly.
Yeah,
and that's why I don't try to regret things in my life.
Absolutely.
I try not to because I have this belief that if you regret something, then you're not really allowing yourself enough room to really learn and change from it. Because if you regret it, then it's just like, well, why do you regret it? You can't go back and change it. Yeah. So I understand now I can't go back and change that. So how do I just move on from it? How do I learn from it? Okay, well, I focused on that other person than I did on myself when I should have been focusing on myself. And so that's what I've been doing. I've been focusing on myself, and I've been super happy because where I am now, I was not 2 years ago, and I should have been where I am now 2 years ago, but I can't go back and change that. So I just got to keep going with what I'm doing. And I'm so grateful for the fact that like I had such great friends to really push me through. Of course, my family as well, but like I think a lot of it really was just like my friends. Not saying I didn't like listen to my mom and dad,
right?
But my friends are the people that I see more often than I do my parents. Yeah. And so,
especially at the age we're at, it gets to that point where,
right?
And it also depends on your family dynamic.
Right, yeah.
But especially at our age, like mid-20s, when you start having that friend group, because it's much smaller than
it does, and I mean,
it becomes your core.
Yeah, my best friend moved to Japan, and so I definitely felt like I definitely lost a part of me, and I only had like two key friends that like I mean I have a lot of friends, but like these two guys were like my other. Ones that like I could just, go to. And then there was a friend of mine at work, Wolf. He's absolutely just awesome dude. He's an absolute badass.
I mean, his name's Wolf, so I'd hope.
Yeah. He's an absolute badass. But dude, I love you. But he is such a huge softie at heart. He really is. He's just
a lot of badass people are.
And that's
because well, and here's the thing: in order to be a badass, you have to give a shit.
Yeah, and
not give a shit at the same time.
Exactly. Whenever something, that's the thing about him that I've sort of adapted from his personality, and I've sort of have started living for myself in a sort of sense. Is if there's things out of my control, I don't care, and neither does he. But whenever something does pertain to me or something pertains to people around me that I've learned to care about and oh, this person means something to me, I'm a total pussy, and so is he. Yeah. I love you, dude, but gosh,
you just care too much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And he's sort of after spending a lot of time with him, he sort of started filling that void of I lost my best friend, and so now he's now in that core group of friends. Honestly, just because he was the guy I spent most of my time at work with, because he was the only one that I really cared to talk to.
Right.
Because everybody else to me was I either just like not like interesting enough, which sounds horrible to say.
No.
But like,
and that's everywhere though, because there's so many people in the world.
yeah, and I mean, like, I think the reason why I really had no choice but to talk to him was just because like we worked in the same like just direct area. We would just boom, we were like partnered up like almost every day, essentially,
and you guys had common interests.
And we had common interests, and like so we would get along really quick, and all that sort of stuff. So like it was just like wow, like dude, like you're really cool, that sort of deal, and like it just kind of occurred to me over like this past year, like. And I know, like, I sound like I've maybe been, like, really, like, angry about that relationship, which...
You were at first.
I was at first. And, like, even, like, whenever, like, I bring it up, it does bring out a little bit of frustration. A little triggering, yeah, because, like, I'm talking about what made me frustrated, so therefore I get frustrated a little bit.
Well, and it's like a temporary... Because I'm the exact same way.
Yeah.
Because, like I said... My past relationship was very similar.
Yeah, exactly.
There were some very toxic parts of it.
Exactly, but, like, where I'm at now is, like, I honest to God, I know, like I said, I've sounded like I'm an asshole to this person and all that sort of stuff, but I honestly, I wish her the best, and I hope everything that she wants comes her way, and I absolutely hope that someday, I'd be able to just be face to face with her and be like, look, I was an asshole, I messed up after the relationship, and in regards to the relationship, you messed up. I messed up. We both messed up. It was a bad relationship. We both have learned something from it. So I say let's just shake hands, hug it out, whatever, just whatever. Let's mend the bridge and then go back that way and I'll go back this way. It was good times. See you later. That sort of deal. It's not something I would ever like really get back into. It's nothing that I would ever really even consider. But because like the entire time I would just be thinking of that, but it's just I'm happy with who I'm with now, and I absolutely love Kayla to death, and I love where I'm at in my life because where I am, I wouldn't be the person that I am now if it wasn't for that horrible incidents that happened in that relationship. I wouldn't be where I'm at. I wouldn't have learned the things that I learned about myself if it weren't for any of that. So whenever people like that's just that everything like has, there's a plan.
There's a circle of life.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. I thought it sounded good.
Yeah.
So I do think it's interesting.
I know I brought this up. I know I brought this up last time we recorded, but Fibonacci.
Yeah.
The Fibonacci sequence. For those that don't know what this is, I definitely recommend looking it up.
Yeah.
It's a mathematical sequence that occurs in nature, and the sequence of numbers is 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, and basically, essentially what it is, it just keeps going on, but essentially is you add each number to the next to get the sum, and then you add the sum to the previous number to get the next number. So 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 2 is 5, 5 plus 3 is 8, 8 plus 5 is 13, yada, yada, yada. And eventually what happens is the ratio that comes to it is 1 to 1.618, and that ratio is seen in nature repeatedly. And if you map those out across tiles with a 1 by 1, 1 by 1, 2 by 2, 3 by 3, 5 by 5, and you draw an arc from one corner to the next corner, and you just keep drawing that spiral, eventually what you do get is a perfect spiral every single time. And that perfect spiral appears in the shape of your ear. It appears in a hurricane. It appears in spiral galaxies. So it's not just like a world thing.
It's also the golden ratio, which is like what we determine for beauty and various other things.
Exactly. Yeah. And like that's also like why some people even call it God's fingerprint, because if God is perfect and if God created everything to be perfect, then everything would be perfectly, have a perfectly measured the way it is. Exactly. The Fibonacci sequence, definitely recommend people look it up. It absolutely like changed my mind, and that's like even like how I write.
So how does? Oh, that's right. You did mention that to me.
Yeah.
With your book right now, you're right.
Yeah. With my book, I have it split into 4 acts, and the first 2 acts, right? Yeah, 1, 1, 2, 3. Like the first 2 acts are very similar. So Act 1 and Act 2, they're basically just Act 1 all over again.
Right.
And then Act 3 is basically like Act 2.
Part 2.
Like Part 2, where it's different now. And then Act 3, or Act 4, number 3, is completely different from both 1 and 2, and it knots everything up a little bit.
Yeah.
So like that's just like how I've started to write too, you know.
That's
so
awesome.
I've thrown it in.
I do like that. So okay, going back to the relationship thing though, how does Fibonacci sequence relate? Or was that just something you wanted to make sure you brought up because you love it?
No.
Which is fine.
No, it like
the cycle of
the
how
cycle,
things go.
yeah, of how things go, and like
I would actually love to see if somebody could try to like take a case study with different people and try to map out
like
like
spirals.
if there was a spiral.
That would be
connection.
awesome. Yeah,
that would be phenomenal.
See, like
that would create this whole dynamic with how we like see the universe and God, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, like I mean, that definitely like has changed my perspective on like God and everything as well, is because like
there is a sequence.
Like there is a sequence. Like there is like
there's a common structure.
There's a common structure to everything. So like therefore to me, like with my even just previous belief in God, and then this being like mathematical proof.
Well, I mean,
it just makes sense. I still understand. Like I've actually been asked, like if I didn't believe in God, what would I believe in? And my answer has been and always would be that I would be an atheist, because to me, even from a Christian standpoint, it's the only other thing that to me in a religious standpoint makes sense.
I don't know. Hinduism's kind of fun.
Hinduism's kind of fun, yeah. But like, so is Islam.
No, not at all. No, not Islam.
Yeah,
Hinduism, I do actually think probably is my second closest to what Christianity looks like.
Really?
Yes, because Hinduism, and obviously there's different sects, just like there's some unhealthy characteristics of Christianity too. But the primary idea of Hinduism is trying to live your best life in order to benefit the world, so that you are then granted something.
Yeah.
So very similar, and also I like the idea of reincarnation. I think that's an interesting way to value what we do in this life. The only thing I hate about Hinduism is their hierarchy of people, like their hierarchy of groups. I don't know if you've heard about this.
I don't know a lot about Hinduism.
So obviously, like when you are reincarnated, you are reincarnated at a certain level in society. So when you're born, you are declared at a certain level.
So, sort of like, okay. So if I'm following you correctly, so if I go throughout my life and I do really good things and I help people, then I will come back as like sort of like a higher up, and if I do like bad things, then I'll be like lower than scum.
But I'm pretty sure that the problem with that is if you're at a certain level, like if you're at the lowest level, you can't go up.
Huh.
Yeah. I'll have to look back into it, but I'm pretty sure that's like my biggest problem.
Yeah, if there's any Hindus listening, like let us know if we're getting this completely wrong or if we're somewhat accurate.
because my biggest problem is that these hierarchies, it's not just if you do this, your next life you'll be better. Yeah. It's we currently have people who we declare are this, like who are born in this family. So they're automatically this level, and they will be treated better in our society than anyone else below them. So you literally treat people based on their birth. And it's a societal, like, religious norm. And it's very interesting, because it's not the idea of Christianity where you help the lower. It's you are defined by your state and like your position in society.
Yeah.
And that's just your reality.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Did I mention like how I met Kayla?
No.
I didn't?
No.
Oh, well, I met her on Bumble.
I remember that because I was talking to you about how I met a girl on Bumble.
Yeah.
But that hasn't.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't a plug. I'm not sponsored, neither are you. But like, Bumble to me is far much better than Tinder.
I would agree.
Because Bumble is classier, and not only that, but good girls have to talk to you, so that's how you know it's real. For me, at least.
I don't know.
Like I said, I'm a drunk 7, so yeah.
I mean, I'm like a drunk 6, so. trying to get that 7 status because I've been working out, but
Yeah, I mean, yeah, dude. I've been working a lot too. Like
I
I've
know
been
you were
going.
telling me.
I've been going 5 times a week for the past like month and a half,
That's
and
awesome.
dude, I'm
I just don't
feeling.
have that consistency yet.
Oh, dude, I feel good.
Yesterday was my 2nd day in a row.
I'm
No, 3rd day in a row.
good job, man.
I'm fighting if I want to go today or not.
Yeah, no, dude, do
Because
it.
I'm supposed to go do cardio
Do
with
it.
somebody at
Like
6,
that's
and I'm like, that sounds awful. I'd
that's
rather
the
do anything
dude.
else.
Like that's the thing is like even if you don't want to do it, you gotta be able to motivate yourself to be like, yo, no, like no, I'm gonna go do this.
I
And
might
like,
just go do PF after this.
yeah, like to me, like I
Or
just
not.
as soon as I got into it,
Yeah.
I got addicted, and I was just like, man, I'm looking better, I'm feeling better, and I'm like. I don't know. Like it just feels better.
You're happier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
See, and so I have 2 things I wanted to say because both of them relate to stuff you've been talking about. So the first thing is like you talked about how recently you've been trying to live for yourself. You've been trying to get more into who Casey is and what Casey loves.
Yes.
What's life giving for me? So obviously my podcast is one of those for me.
Yes.
Working out more, reading more. I'm actually going to start reading. Good old what's his name? Cthulhu. I can't think of the author's name. Lovecraft. I'm gonna start reading Lovecraft because it's October. Okay. So I have this big blue book of stories over there. I'm gonna start reading that. I have some Edgar Allan Poe. I'm gonna start reading those every night before I go to bed because I want to start reading more. And I'm like, it's spooky. Let's go ahead and start this new tradition of mine. So like I definitely get the trying to find ways to develop yourself, as well as you have this job, which the job isn't necessarily always life giving for people.
No,
I lucked out.
I definitely think like. I mean, it is a job, and so like my mindset with it is like I don't really even see it as like my career path. I just see it as like it's paying my bills right now, and it's just a stepping stone, and it's allowing me to do what I'm doing now, which I think everybody needs to have a mindset on with their jobs because I'm sick and tired. All right, I'm gonna throw it out there. I'm gonna rant a little bit.
Here, hold on. I'm gonna cut you off because I know we have a limited amount of time. Yeah. And I know where you're going with this because I have the same thought. Yeah. So let me try to summarize for you, and you tell me if I'm right.
Sure.
Okay. I hate the fact that people think they have to move on from a job because they don't feel like they're where they're supposed to be. Because we have this existential crisis as millennials where we have to be doing something that matters. Otherwise, it's not worth our time. It's not worth the paycheck, and a lot of people don't want to work anyway.
Essentially, if you are complaining about my job, I don't like my job, or I don't like where I'm at in my life.
It's your mindset.
Exactly. It's your mindset.
Now, obviously, if you're not getting paid enough, like if you can't make your ends meet, that's different. Find another job.
But if it's like saying like, oh, I don't know what to do with my life, like I want to do this with my life, but I just feel like my job is holding me back, like. Your job, nothing is holding you back. Like you're just not making the time to.
You're not prioritizing what's important to you.
Exactly, and if like you want to do it, then go do it.
Well, shit, that's where I was at.
Yeah.
For about 2 years, I've been talking about doing a podcast or doing a blog.
Yeah.
And I kept starting it up and not following through.
Yeah.
So I've finally been consistent enough with this podcast.
Yes.
And trying to record with people. Like I'm constantly texting people and like messaging people who I know who I'm like, hey. I think you're interesting because of this. I want to record with you.
Yes.
I want to get your perspective on things. Let's record. We have this similarity. Wrestling. Let's talk about like whatever the hell it is. I want to record it and I want to post it.
I want to
because it's my way of doing something.
I want to leave people with this Bible verse here on pretty much just like what we were just talking about. Yeah. And it's something that like I've definitely like applied to my life. It's Proverbs chapter 20, verse 13. Love not sleep, lest you come to poverty.
Oof.
Open your eyes, and you will have plenty of bread. Essentially, what God is telling you is, hey, if you sleep, like, you're not going to be working, so you need to wake up and go get that dough, my dude.
I like it. I do actually. I like
so
it.
like
That is the prophetic word of Casey.
Yes. Go get that bread, man, dude.
So,
it's in Proverbs 20:13.
So I did have one other thing I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Because that's good. I want to end on that.
Yeah.
And we'll bring it back around here in a second. But one thing I wanted to say is because we were talking about how there's this cycle.
Yes.
And how we learn very much from our previous relationships.
Yes.
And we do regret things from our previous relationships. We try not to, but obviously there's things we look at. I was actually talking to somebody about this, and they're like, what are you looking for in a relationship? I said, I want something healthy. I want something balanced, because I've been the guy who's been the main support, and I've been the weak link.
Yeah.
She's like, what do you mean the weak link? And I was like, well, I wasn't mature enough. I wasn't at a point where I was ready to take up responsibility. I wasn't able to push her. I didn't have my own motivation.
Right.
There were things there I realized that wasn't good. However, I've learned from having not a lot of relationships, but from my relationships I've had, what I want. Like this last bad one, after the breakup, I was like, oh no, I know exactly what I want now.
Yeah.
Because I've been the weak link and I've been the support now.
Yeah,
I've had both extremes.
Yeah, that's essentially my relationship with Kayla.
Yeah,
in all honesty,
you found that middle.
I knew what I wanted out of that relationship.
Yeah.
And the good things that I had from that bad relationship, I took.
Yes.
And then I was like, okay, I'm going to apply that to the person that I choose to be the next person I want to be in a relationship with.
You learn...
And Kayla is... I could go on forever about that woman. I really could.
Yeah.
Like, she understands that, like, my love and my passion is, like, writing and filmmaking. And so, like she understands that, like, she's like, yo, like, I'm 100%, like, go out there and, like, get that dough, dude. Like, I love you. And I'm here, I'm going to support you in everything that you do.
Yeah.
And, like, that was even, like, a thing I even brought up to her, like, before the relationship. I was like, look, like, if we're going to be serious about, like, actually, like, doing this and whatnot, you got to understand that that's, like, my thing. That's, like, what I want to do. And
Absolutely.
she was like, dude, absolutely, go do you.
So
honey, I love you.
Yeah,
I love you so much.
So that's exactly what I learned. So when we're in relationships where we're the strong, like where we're the strong pillar of everything for the most part, or it feels like that, like most of the weight's on us.
Yeah.
We learn our capacity to love. We learn our capacity to be patient and deal with things in a relationship, and to be patient with people. I think that's awesome to learn. I also think when we're not the strong one, when we're the one who's lazy, we realize, when we look back, we're like, there's a certain level of maturity I have to grow. Yeah. We learn how to be better people and how to be better in a relationship through other relationships. And here's my main point. I get very annoyed when people think they aren't ready to be in a relationship, or think that they have to have certain criteria met before they jump into a relationship, because they don't want it to go poorly. And I'm like, listen, there is a cycle. Yeah. There is a level of learning that you grow from being in a relationship. Yeah. Now, if you've been in an abusive relationship and you need time to try to make sure you're going into something healthier, that makes sense, absolutely. But even then, you need to develop yourself within a relationship as well as without one. Right. Is my perspective. Because I've always thought that you can grow as a person while still in a relationship.
Exactly.
So for me, and this is also coming from a place of somebody telling me they're not ready for a relationship, but treating me like a boyfriend to some extent. Amazingly supportive, amazingly somebody I wanted to be with, just wasn't there. And it bothers me so much because I saw that mentality a lot in high school and a lot in youth group and a lot going to a Christian college. Like this very negative idea of, I don't want to be in a relationship until I'm absolutely sure. Like, I'm like, girl, you're not going to marry the first guy. And if you do,
then that's awesome.
But like, I'm a lot more skeptical, actually. I'm a lot more like, it's probably not going to work. Because, and because I don't...
Well, like, the people that can pull that off, to me, that's awesome. Like, good for you. But, like, the majority... They're few and far between. Like, a majority of people, I think, like, I don't remember the average.
2 people.
I think, like, the average is, like, everybody has at least, like, 5 significant others before they finally meet the one.
Maybe. I legitimately know 2. So both of my roommates from college. Jared Drake and Josh Booth. Jared was dating somebody long distance for like 5 years.
know
You know
Josh
Jared.
Booth.
Oh, you know Josh Booth.
I knew Josh Booth. I went to church with him. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he's an amazing dude.
Oh yeah.
Him and Amanda. I was very skeptical about their relationship for a long time because I was like, I don't know, man. You're getting excited. You know, it seems like you guys are rushing into things. Only after they've been married for a few years, and I've sat and talked with him and realized like their level of understanding, commitment, and like conversational skills.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, you guys are great. You guys are gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Like I have no worries about your relationship. But that was his first ever relationship.
Yeah.
But that was not him saying, oh, I just want to wait till I find somebody. That was he was this awkward nerdy guy. He didn't do it. Like
he was. I knew him back all the way back in like 5th, 6th, 7th grade. Like he was really awkward.
No,
he was really nerdy.
And he owns it. He's like, no, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Then I found this amazing person and I fell in love. And my buddy Jared, he was like 13 when he met his future wife. And they just sat and talked for the entire length of a party that his parents were throwing.
Yeah.
And since then, even though they lived like across the country from each other for like 3 years, they still kept a relationship going. Dated for 5 years, mostly long distance, and then got married after my sophomore year of college. So like 6-7 years of a relationship, and then finally being married, living together. They have like 3 kids now.
Yeah.
So it's like I know 2 people, 2 people who've done that.
Right.
I know a lot more people who were engaged who broke it off. I know a lot more people who, that once they started dating and they got super serious, they realized this wasn't the person for them. Yeah. Like, that happens. That's okay. That doesn't make you a failure as a person. Right. If you get into a relationship and it doesn't work out. Doesn't matter how much you invest. Yeah. Your investment is never wasted in a person. You may feel like it sometimes. I feel like it sometimes with my ex, that I wasted a lot of investment. Yeah. But the only reason I felt that way is because I wasn't getting my investment back.
Right, yeah. And that's...
But that's when you have to realize, when you notice that's what's happening in a relationship, you move on. Yeah. You find where you can get that... Now, you don't cheat, but you find where you can get that investment if you've tried to work and like manage things and get that investment. Right. And it doesn't work. Yeah. And I say that because, like I said, you and I both know, when you are trying to be the strong one, when you're trying to be the support, and you're not getting that support back, and you're not getting that strength back, you're not getting that energy back. Yeah. It drains every bit of who you are.
It did.
And it makes you feel awful either way.
And also, like, it made me do things I'd never done in a relationship before.
Yeah.
And so, like I look back and I'm like, wow, like, I can't believe I did that. Like, wow, she had every reason to be like, she had every reason to call me like what she called me. Like, I was just like, damn, because like I've never done that before. But like, I'm not saying that like I'm justified in any way of doing anything wrong. But at the same time,
it's like you can process why it happened.
You can process why exactly. Yes. You know why it happened, and it's because of X, and so now you know the why.
And now you know that when you look for a relationship, like for me, I'm more picky now.
Yeah, me too.
It's not, well, you don't have to be picky conveniently.
Yeah.
But for me, like, I'll start talking to somebody and I'm like, okay, they have some good energy. Like, I want to follow. Like, this girl I'm talking to right now, she literally gave almost the exact same response I did to what she wants in a relationship. I was like, oh, that's a good sign.
Same for Kayla.
Right. I'm like, okay, can I get your number? Because I want to talk to you more. Yeah. Like, I hate messaging through dating apps. So as soon as I can get a number, I do, because it's fucking awful. I hate messaging through Snapchat, everything. Just text me. It's so much easier. Yeah. Or Facebook even. God, it's so much easier. Yeah. But like, if I'm realizing, hey, we're matching on a certain level, or like, you know, she's going after what she wants, and she wants somebody to go after what they want. I'm like, oh God, that's so much more attractive to me than a pretty face.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Like you can have the thickest, nicest body. But if you aren't going to help me on a certain level, and if you're not going
to be emotionally there, if you're not going to be
if you're not going to be mentally there, you're back in the bin with all the people who you think are ugly. Yep. Like you're right there. Like you're hitting that X. You're getting the swipe left. If you're a basic, like if your profile makes me look at you and say, huh, you're just a basic person. I don't want that. I don't want basic. I don't want to be basic myself. I don't want somebody who's basic and. Maybe I am basic. I mean, after all, I'm a white dude doing a podcast. So, you know, maybe there's a certain level there of recognizing my own limitations. Right. But yeah, I think kind of to wrap everything back around, find somebody who pushes you to go out and get that bread and who goes out and gets their bread and lets you be there for them as well.
Right. Yeah. And I mean that's essentially like how I wrote my book, because my book was originally just supposed to be just a short story that I was gonna write about me, a couple friends, and even like my ex, like my girlfriend at the time. And after the relationship ended, then like I fell out of touch with her, and of course like her friends as well. And so like I was originally just making it as like a little short story Christmas gift, just to like humor them, make them laugh, and be like, oh wow, yeah, that's kind of funny. Well, you know, I was being thoughtful, and I was about to hit backspace on the whole thing, and then I just like stopped, and I was like, you know, I can actually like maybe grow this. So I did. I just went in and I just changed everybody's names. I just went in, changed everybody's names, and I was just like, cool, I'm going to make this story over to something else. And so that's essentially what I did.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, and I think that gives me more motivation to continue writing that book now. Not necessarily as like revenge or anything like that. Like I'm holding a grudge. It has nothing to do with that. It's just like I realized something and I was like, wow, I want to do that now. You know, type of way. Exactly. So, and I mean, like, Kayla's just absolutely like 100% like supportive of it too. Like, I've sent her chapters and been like, what's good, what sucks, and please be honest with me. And that's the thing about her, is like she will be honest. She'll like tell me like, I had no idea what was going on here. This part absolutely sucked. And then there's other times where she's like, oh my gosh, like this was really good and I really related to this character.
I gotta say, I absolutely love girlfriend or friend or whoever, people in my life who will just give me honest feedback.
Yeah, like I'm a man, like you don't have to lie to me.
Man or woman, like if you're the type of person who's genuinely looking for feedback, get somebody who's going to be brutal. Yeah, get somebody who's going to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, exactly. And like she's honest with me. My best friend that moved to Japan, like I'll send him something too, and he's probably the most honest person I've ever met, because he's very open. He's very opinionated. And like, at times, that's why I honestly like get so pissed with him sometimes, because I'm like, no, you're absolutely wrong. Like you don't understand. He's like, well, I may not understand, but this like just shut up. Like
no, I get that.
But no,
too.
I love him. He's absolutely just the greatest guy, and like I would absolutely just trust him with my life.
Yeah.
And trust him with all the material that I send in, because I know he's going to be brutally honest.
So have you ever seen the movie What Dreams May Come?
Yes.
Robin Williams.
Yes.
One of my favorite quotes is, "I would storm the gates of hell with you."
I would have stormed the gates of hell with you. Yes.
That is the type of friends you want to find.
Yes, exactly. Those are the type of friends, and that's what
the type of relationships you want.
Yeah, that's what I have in Braden. That's what I have in Kayla. That's what I have in Ben, Jake, and now, of course, my newly found best friend, Wolf. That's what I got in him. Like, you know, if he wants to go storm the gates of hell, well, I'm gonna be right there with him. Yeah. If I'm gonna go storm the gates of hell, I'll look at him and be like, "Hey, you in for the bar fight?" He'll be like, "Yeah, I'm so down. Let's do this."
No, he'd be like, "Who we punching?"
he'd be like, "What do I need to bring?
What do they look like?"
Yeah, what do they look like? Do I need the brass knuckles? Do I just need to bring my boot and put a foot in their ass? Right. Yeah. You know, do I need to smash the beer bottle and, you know, get ready? Like, what are we doing? You know, Wolf, like I said, he's an absolute just beast of a man, but he's, like I said, he's a huge softie. He's a great guy, though. So,
all right. I want to meet this guy at some point. He sounds cool.
Yeah, he's absolutely a great guy.
All right. Well,
yeah.
I very much appreciate you being on the podcast with me for the second time.
Yeah, thank you for having me for the second time.
I'm definitely going to invite you on again.
Sure.
We will definitely be hanging out more often.
Yeah.
Especially for actually watching pay-per-views, because I kind of bailed because I just wanted to be home.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys have enjoyed these rambling rabbits and us rambling rabbits.
Yeah.
And I do hope you enjoyed your caramel vanilla latte. This has been something to drink on, and I'll see you next time.
There was a grand tower alone on the sea. You became... Are you going to sing with me?
I don't know the song. I'm trying to...
I've been kissed by a rose on the...
I don't know the song that well.
Dude, Seal?
I don't know the song.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry.
Okay, fine, whatever.
How about this? Don't you forget about me. Don't you.